Hi everyone. So today I was thinking of creating a Mother's Day card, drawing and sketching a Mother's Day card, and I want to keep it simple because I don't want to go dig in for too many supplies. So what I have here is my watercolor paper. I always have these sheets handy because I like the A5 size, which folds into a very nice card form. So if I take these A5 sheets, it allows me to, I use it for not just watercolor, but it works very well for watercolor. So this A5 size is a very nice size for the card that we are going to make today. I'm going to keep a single one here. And if you fold this card, this paper in half neatly, I like to use a bone folder when I am folding. It just makes for very clean folds. That should be enough. Your card is essentially A6 size, and it's a good size. It doesn't take too long to fill up. Now what we need is this card. Because it's 200 GSM paper, it is easy to fold. 300 GSM paper can be a little more challenging, so the fold is usually a little less crisp, and so that's why I have now finally settled on a 200 GSM paper and watercolor paper, because very often my plans veer back into watercolor, which today of course we are not doing. Hopefully not. Let's see how it progresses. A scrap of paper. This is an old printer paper, so nothing great, just stuff that's the backside of a printer paper. This is for me to try out a few florals, and I've kept some color pencils handy. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing, the plan I have in mind is florals made from pen or ink, and because I'd like to add color on top of it, which I'm not yet sure about, I'd like to use a water resistant ink. So you will see over here, this is water resistant quick dry ink. So I'm going to use this because what if I decide at the last minute that I want to paint in watercolor? We should not have to change our plans. Okay, so you need that, and let's decide on what flower to use and what leaf to use. There are so many flowers we can use. So I'm thinking of a very I want contrast, okay, a balance of white and dark space. So because I want contrast, I have to make sure that I have a flower that is either filled with lines or something that darkens the flower, so that the contrast is that the leaf will be open. So suppose I decide to go with something like this. Okay, and I'm looking at something very simple, 5-petal pointy petal flower, something like this, where I could probably fill up the inside with these kind of lines. So by adding these lines, you will see that the flower has automatically become dark, right? So it's filled up, the space is filled up, and white space is gone. So against this kind of a flower, and by the way, when you are doing florals, you will be tempted to try different types of flowers in one composition, but today I'm keeping it really simple. One flower and one leaf, and that's it. We don't want to go beyond that. But if the flower has no white space in it, then we will make sure that the leaves that we attach to this flower, so I'm going to think of maybe these kind of leaves, are, offset the darkness of the flower by having leaves like this. So something like this. Yeah, this is one option. The opposite of that is possible as well. So if I decide to make a flower that's more white and the leaves that are darker, we could do something like let's say, let's put a center. I'd like to always start with some sort of a center, and in this case I'm just making circles that make the center look dark. I will put these little markers, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, they just help me balance out how not balance out, plan the leaves, because leaves when we start drawing can be so big that we end up not having space to put all 5. I want to make a 5-petal flower, so let's make the petals this way. Go slow, because initially you may not be familiar with the type of flower you're making. So here's a nice flower. I don't mind putting a few lines in the center. So this makes the center of the flower nice and dark, whereas the outer part of the flower is the larger part of the flower is empty, has a lot of white space. To this flower, I'd like to make pointy leaves, because now the flower is not very pointy, so I could consider making, that's it, leaves like this. Now, to be very honest, with a pen, I enjoy these kind of leaves. They come very naturally to me as compared to these, and these also could be made, a little more interesting by having these lines added to it. But I love these leaves, so you'll find me using these leaves very often. Could have a leaf coming out from here, which is a little bigger. Okay, so right now, because we have not added any color to the leaf, it looks all white, which is also very pretty, mind you, but I still want something that it has got a contrast. So for the contrast, I'm going to put these, they're very graphic, they're not realistic at all, veins. Okay, and straight away when you fill in lines, just like the earlier flower, these leaves start to become dark, and the contrast between leaf and flower is very clear, right? Now you have to imagine this as a whole composition where you're going to see these leaves everywhere. At that point, the contrast will be even more, like the distinction between the white spaces and the dark spaces will be even more visible. So I'm very partial to these leaves, so I would like to do this flower and the leaf. Okay, very easy decision for me, because a lot of this flower and leaves don't sit with me as well, so I'm going to go with this. Alright, now the rough paper was for us to practice what type of composition, what type of flower and leaf we want to do. Now we're going to make many versions of this, larger, smaller, at different places. That's what we're going to do in our card. Let's get to the card now. Now that we have our flowers picked, let's get to the card. On the card, I would like to write, this is a Mother's Day card, so we want to obviously say something about our mothers. So I'm going to say, I call my mother Amma, so I'm going to write the word Amma, and I'm going to use 4 calligraphy. Let me just make it, I won't make it too big, let me try and fit it here. Let's see. This is a pencil. I've just used it so that I get my placement right. So you may need to erase it if you're not happy with the placement. What I mean by placement is positioning, up, down, sideways, all these kind of things. Usually when we write, we will write straight, but you may end up finding a little too high with too much space at the bottom. And what I'm planning for today, it really needs to be at the center, and my florals need to be around, so I can't have it go up or down. I would like to have it in the center. Alright, so placement wise, I think I'm okay, more or less. Yeah, okay, this is looking visually all right. What I'm going to do is now for calligraphy. So I take my pen, and if you haven't explored folk calligraphy, you really should, because this is so much of fun. And I have a workshop coming up on folk calligraphy that kind of walks through the basics, the concepts. You really will benefit from knowing how to make letters this way, because there is so much usability, not just on cards, so many places. Of course, I use it a lot on cards, but you can use it in so many places. That's it. Folk calligraphy doesn't take time. It's quite straightforward. So that's done. The lettering is done. Okay. Now after this I want to add flowers around, but like I said, I'm trying to make sure that spaces are very clear. Now if I start making flowers in the gaps over here, my flowers are black, made in black ink, my lettering is in black ink. So to make this lettering kind of space it out from the flowers, not let them overlap, I'm going to put a outline of sorts. So this is like a cloud outline, something like this. All of these things can be done in pencil before you do it in pen. So please do not feel like this can only be done if it's done directly in pen. No. Be comfortable. I have obviously practiced this many times, made lots and lots of mistakes, and don't mind making mistakes, more mistakes. So I go in with ink often without worrying too much, but that may not be the case with everyone. You may want things to be in place, so please go ahead and use a pencil and ink it later. So this is the kind of effect I want. I want the lettering to have its own little cushion. This is done. Okay, now we're going to add our flowers, and I'm just thinking first what we do is we keep the flowers in the right places. So I'll start off I start on the right side, somewhere here. Okay, so this is the center of the flower. Remember what we did? I mark those little sections before I draw the petals. I always do that because it somehow gives me a sense of surety that nothing will go wrong. There. So one flower is done. Now obviously here, this is where my mind considers the next flower to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my flower is going to obviously disappear behind the lettering. Yeah, so 2 flowers. Maybe I can go a little larger with the next flower. I could place it over here. Let's make the center a little bigger and consider making a larger version of the same flower. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go. This goes behind. Okay, not bad. Then now we still haven't reached the point where we are putting those lines inside. Let's first place the flowers. I could place one over here, and now this flower could be really out, meaning the overlap is like very little. So let's make a flower over here. I'm thinking somewhere here. Few little circles like this, and then we go in with the petals. Okay, so there you go. Now this was a mistake. Doesn't matter if you make a mistake like this, don't worry about it too much, because more lines are going to come, and it's going to kind of, the lines are going to overlap here and there, and you can fix these things. Let's put another one here, maybe one really close to this, a small one. Okay, one over here. Now this one, maybe I can let it overlap quite a bit, so like three, maybe 2 or 3 of these petals could go inside. Right, so now this is looking a bit heavy on this side, so let's add something more here. Now over here I'd like to put something close by, which is large, just like this, something over here. You get more confident as you make more flowers, remember that. Maybe one over here, which is close to this flower, kind of overlapping with this and this. So let's make a little one here, not so big. Okay, it's starting to get there. What else? Maybe I could put one. I'm trying to really cover up the space with flowers, and we can of course put leaves in the gaps, but I'm trying to fit all the flowers I want around the wood. Maybe I could put one here, overlapping this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay, now it's looking heavy there, so we need to balance it here. This is exactly how it usually is with designs that is balancing exercise. It's exactly like this. You add one, you take one. You know that story about the monkey that keeps adjusting the bread by biting 2 slices of bread again and again to make them equal? That's the same kind of feeling. Okay, I think that's a lot of flowers now. We've got a lot of flowers in. Maybe one more here, maybe one here. I'm really trying to think of it. Maybe here, yeah. I don't know, sometimes it's when the flower comes that I feel should have been somewhere else, or it should not have been there at all. So please feel free to do this in pencil. I'm going to accept whatever's happening now, whether I like it or not. Yeah. Look at this. Going off on. You don't know when to stop sometimes, which has become the problem in my case. I'm not sure when to stop. I'm gonna just stop. Now comes so we've got a lot of flowers now around this word. I want to now fit the leaves, and the leaves have to fit within the leftover space. So big flowers can have big leaves next to it. So maybe I could put in the big leaves first, put the center vein, and then put this lovely shape around. So that's one big leaf. Now you want to balance the big leaves as well. So maybe one over here. And remember, these leaves are radiating outward. That means your center, where the word Amma is written, this is your center. Everything radiates outwards. Okay, so that's another leaf. We could definitely include one over here. Okay, and one over here. Now all the leaves don't need to be hiding. You could have a leaf that comes out a little bit, like almost entirely out. So maybe you could have a fat leaf here. See? Entirely coming out. Doesn't have to be hiding behind the flower. So that's another fat leaf. I definitely need one over here. We could put one right in the gap. You know, like this. So there's one leaf, we can take one out here. Now this one, obviously there's not enough space. I don't want to go right to the edge. You must remember to keep a little bit of an edge around your design. Don't come and touch the edges of your card. You definitely want to keep some sort of an invisible border. Okay, so let your leaves stay within. Alright, now that the big leaves have come in, let's try the small leaves. So I can definitely have a shoot coming out here. Stop over here, remember, that's your border, that's your invisible border. Put your leaf out. There's another leaf. Okay. And over here you could indicate a leaf that is partially hidden behind. You know, that's how we are going to start adding our leaves. Over here now there's a little bit of a concern. We could put a leaf coming out this way, you know, a fat one that comes out like this. This could be one option. Then we could have other leaves coming out. Now this, because it has come out, I would like to also show there's another one coming out from here, from the same stem or branch, you know, and one that goes in here. So this is all part of the same branch. Same thing happens over here. We can show this is your imaginary line that goes behind. Then there should be one sticking out over here, and only partially, and the similar one sticking out here. Yeah, same thing happens here. So somewhere here we could put out a stem. See? Okay, it's starting to fill up. Now what I'm looking for, okay, look at this. This is a very evident spot where we could have a stem. Actually, we could have a flower sticking out here, you know, because since I want to cover up the space. And the flower does not have to be a flower that's out. You know, we could probably have a flower which has a petal come out here like this, and maybe one on this side. Okay, and that's it. The flower is behind. Almost all the flower is behind. So that could be something we could do. Alright, now I definitely need a nice long petal that comes out here. Sorry, leaf that comes out here. Okay, and then one out here. So remember, the whole purpose is filling up space correctly. Well, not correctly, but filling up space so that you do not have too many pockets of white space. Now here, obviously here we need some leaves, not too much. One hiding behind. Okay, so the base is starting to look quite good. Now let's go up. Let's see, maybe we could add something here, you one little leaf sticking out just to balance it off. Yeah, so that we have a nice rounded end. Over here also we could think of one leaf going out. Okay, yeah, this is looking quite okay. Now let's target the top. We definitely need something out here, so because we can only come out so much, let's make the leaf and see where it goes. Okay, it only goes up till here. See, that should be enough. Now over here we can come out till this point, which means we can add a leaf. We can have something coming out, sticking out, and I don't want to do the other side. Okay, here definitely. In fact, here we can even have an imaginary leaf in between the gaps, and then of course we can have one sticking out. We can have one sticking out here, but we can't see it. Okay, now what's left? This space looks like okay. Now here there's a little bit of space, and I don't want to really put out a leaf, but we can definitely have one that is part of this branch. So basically this one comes out, which means we have a line coming out here, and the tip of that leaf, and maybe even a tip of another leaf here. See? Okay. How does this look? I still feel like there could be a small tip here. So let me just add that in. Yeah, now it's looking better. Definitely more structured. Okay. I'm tempted to put one here, but I think maybe that's a mistake. Too much of it. This is already looking quite dense. Now I will just take an eraser of these lines, pencil lines that I had first used to put the word Amma. Just erase that off, because now the faux calligraphy is also got a lot of white space, and we need to add lines. So let's do the line work. Now on my faux calligraphy, I would like to darken the thick strokes with just these oblique lines. Okay, so oblique lines. Straight away the letter starts to become bold. Stands out better than before. You can change the words, obviously. If Amma is not what you call your mother, you can write mom, mummy. There's so many terms for, so many endearments we use for mothers. Right, that is done. Now the next is the center of the flowers. We already have the center, but the lines are good to make. Remember I told you the lines are very, very nice. They deepen the center, the dark in the center. So let's put lines this way. They're short lines. Don't make them very long, because that white space you still want to preserve. See, short lines. Be a little careful. Wherever there is an overlapping petal, you don't want it to go wrong. Just think before you put the lines. Okay, so there's a petal here that is actually behind, right? We can all we can do with the lines is that much. Okay, so that side, look at this side, it's looking, centers are looking so much more vibrant. Okay, This can seem a bit tedious, better word, tedious, because it is tedious. And it takes time, which is also one of the reasons why my patience runs thin and I end up doing a lot of my work directly in pen, because there's a lot of detail which feels difficult to achieve when I have to do it in pencil and then do it in pen. Okay, this is done. Now we get on to the petals. The leaves, my mistake, leaves. So the veins we add to our leaves, remember, are these lines. So we want to start with these kind of lines. These are not meant to be realistic looking leaves. So the moment you start adding these lines, leaf by leaf add the lines, you will start to see the balance of dark or contrast of dark space and light space, or white and the lack of white. In the actual video, I'm going to speed this up so you can pause and watch this, let this part pass while you make your own lines. Alright, this looks good as it is. We are done with our pen work. Now we go in with a little bit of pencil. So let's pick out some colors. Start with yellow. Let's test it out. Not so good. Alright, if that's the case, let's switch to some watercolors. I'm going to keep this aside and bring in my watercolors. You know, this pen was supposed to be waterproof, water resistant, and I see a lot of blurring of lines here. Okay, so I'm going to work this way. I'm going to move all my paint downwards. Now that I've started, I really can't stop and use another medium because my yellow is not going to look the same. So I'm just going to quickly apply the paint and move on. See that bleed? That's not meant to happen. I'm a little disappointed with the pen. Should have used my Sakura fineliners or my Uniball fineliners. Lesson learned. Should have probably used a thicker brush, fatter brush. But do you notice that the color added now is kind of making the word stand out, because the word has the that outline, that bit of border. It's such a big thing that it's there, because now with the yellow color that's come around it, it's standing out. It really is standing out. The last one, kind of given it a double border, a white border as well as a yellow border, the words, that is. Okay, see, now you can continue using a green color if you like, but I'm going to quicken the process now by using a brush pen. So this is a normal brush pen, a green color brush pen. Let me pull that out and show you. See? If you want, okay, let's get to the part where we finish this, and then we can, while I do this, a lot of ideas are playing around in my head. I feel like experimenting with things. Now that I'm doing the light green, I'm thinking of dark green. Would it be nice if I had a dark green on one side of the leaf and a light green on the other side? Good idea. And you can try it out. You could probably try it out on your sample paper and see how it looks. If it looks good, then maybe you could go ahead and try it out here, having a light green on one side, dark green on the other side. Okay, I am quite happy actually with the single green. It has its own charm, so I'm going to stick to this for now, and also not to make this tutorial longer than it should be, because already I think I'm running out of patience. If you don't know how to use watercolor, you could have done even the flowers in the yellow of the flowers, or the red, or whatever color you wanted. You could have made this red, by the way, because Mother's Day, it deals with or your mother's favorite color in terms of flowers. I know my mom loves flowers, and yellow is definitely one that she loves, so yellow works well for her. But maybe there is something she loves, like a pink or a purple or a lavender, and you could consider making your flowers, painting or coloring up the flowers in that particular hue that your mom might like. You don't also need to color the flowers. You could leave it without coloring and leave all of it just black and white. Okay, so the idea that I was talking about was this: the green, you know what? Yeah, the green of these lines could also go into the thick strokes of this letter, of each of the letters. See? And it looks so much nicer for it. There you go. Isn't that pretty? I thought this was a very quick way, or no, okay, it's not, maybe not quick, but it's definitely a fun way to make a card with not too many supplies and still make it look very pretty. I'm sure my Amma would love something like this for Mother's Day. So I hope you give this a try, and if you do, please put it on social media and share. You can tag me at Susan Matthew Fernandez on Instagram and on Facebook. Alright, happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there, and I hope each of you remembers how valuable, how invaluable you are in the lives of all your children, and for and a special thank you for all that you do. Okay, see you. Bye bye.